Thomas returned to his companions, they asked him, "What did Jesus say to you?" "If I tell you one of the things which he told me, you will pick up stones." So you pick up the stone, the pineal gland, and the fire will come out of the stones, the fire, the pure. Welcome to Bad Hair Day. Right, the Book of Thomas, saying number 13. This is quite a long one, this, and it requires a decent explanation. So I'll read it first, and then I'll go through each sentence, and I'll expound on it. Saying number 13. Jesus said to his disciples, "Compare me to someone and tell me whom I am like." Simon Peter said to him, "You are like a righteous angel." Matthew said to him, "You are like a wise philosopher." Thomas said to him, "Master, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying whom you are like." Jesus said, "I am not your master. Because you have drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring which I have measured out." And he took him and withdrew and told him 3 things. When Thomas returned to his companions, they asked him, "What did Jesus say to you?" Thomas said to them, "If I tell you one of the things which he told me, you will pick up stones and throw them at me. A fire will come out of the stones and burn you up." Oh, okay. Jesus said to his disciples, well, who are his disciples? Well, if you respond, you're cleaning your house, not eating dead flesh, you're not eating garbage. No alcohol. And you're meditating. When the student is ready, that's you, your own higher consciousness will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And you'll have this experience of a shift in your psyche. Psyche is soul. Because you are 2. There's the ego intellect, which is just a story that you tell yourself to give yourself identity. But that's the false image. That's the graven image that we've been tricked into worshipping. You are like a righteous angel. Right. The name Jesus was practically invented by the Nicene Council. And they needed a new name. And they came up with the name Jesus. But back then it was Jesus. Because the letter J didn't come about until the 17th century. Which makes a mockery of the Jehovah's Witnesses. It makes a mockery of the name Jesus. But back then the name was Jesus. And it was a combination of 2 gods. A druid god, He, and the old famous god, Zeus. Jesus, which later became Jesus. But in ancient Hebrew, the name was Yah-Osha. And Yah-Osha means the implement of Yah. Now, Yah is short for Yahweh, Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh, Y-H-W-H. There's no consonant, no vowels in ancient Hebrew. But you can work it out by looking at other ancient Hebrew words like Torah and Goyim. Now, the implement of Yah is the sacred secretion from the brain, Yah-Osha. And it increases consciousness, and you connect with the divine the Father, the unified field, call it what you want. Now, nature is connected, but humans are experiencing the illusion of separation, and that's what you need to overcome. And it's about returning your home, your church, your temple, your body, that thing you live in temporarily, back to its natural state as it was designed to be. You are like a righteous angel. The word angel comes from the Greek word angelos, which means messenger. So you are like a righteous messenger. So when you tap into higher consciousness, because during meditation, because you've turned off the ego, and then you have become open-minded. And when a mind is open, it will receive messages, angels, messengers. They don't have wings or any of that nonsense. That's just symbolism. Matthew said to him, "You are like a wise philosopher." There was nobody in the Middle East 2,000 years ago called Jesus, Matthew, or Thomas. Okay? Matthew's name was Matanya, which means Yah's gift. You are like a wise philosopher. Philosophy, philo, means love. It's Greek. And Sophia, or Sophie, is the Greek goddess of wisdom. She's feminine, your subconscious mind. So a philosopher is a lover of wisdom. But this is internal wisdom. This isn't about reading a book and becoming wise. This is a wisdom that is given to you by internal messages, received from a messenger. Understand? Thomas, what was Thomas's name? I forget what Thomas's name. Please excuse me. Master, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying whom you are like. And I can kind of relate to that because you're trying to define the indefinable. You're trying to describe something that is beyond the ability of the mind to express. That's why allegory and metaphors have been used. Symbolism, to represent something that is outside of the human frame of reference. Jesus said, "I am not your master." That's very interesting, because all the religious people run around saying, "The Lord Jesus." And I've made a video about the Lord. If you have a Lord, you're not free. If you have a master, you are not free. It's simple. But he goes on to say, because you have drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring which I have measured out. Now, this higher consciousness is what controls the systems in the body. When your house is clean, the systems in the body balance out. Homeostasis, equilibrium, equity, no longer a worker of inequity. And then things start to happen, and the sacred secretion is measured out from the pineal and the pituitary gland. And it's got DMT in it and serotonin, and it makes you feel good. And this is why he says you have become drunk. The word Christ comes from Christos, which is Greek. It means the anointing or oil, or the drug oil. the sacred secretion, the drug oil, because you'll be stoned, the pineal gland, the stone. And he took him and told him 3 things. Now, the 3 things, I'm not sure, so this is me adding to this, but I would say that the 3 things is himself, the higher consciousness, the mother, and the father, the Trinity. And when Thomas returned to his companions, they asked him, "What did Jesus say to you?" If I tell you one of the things which he told me, you will pick up stones. So you pick up the stone, the pineal gland, and a fire will come out of the stones, the fire, the purifying fire, the enlightenment, and burn you up. The ego gets burnt off, and you're free. So people read that traditionally. Oh, a fire will come, and I'll get burnt off. Fuck that. I ain't going anywhere near it. But when you recognize what the ego is, low consciousness, and you want to transcend it, being burnt off is a good thing. Do you understand? So, but it's just about overcoming the ego. Because if we eat of that fruit, on that day we will surely die. Who said you will surely die? Because on that day you will have knowledge of good and evil. And you will be like God. Get it? So again, it's just simple allegory and simple metaphor. But people have assumed the religious stance because it's what they've picked up in their life. And they haven't had a different perspective. And you have to have a higher perspective. Now, it's no good just listening to me. You have to have your own internal experience. You can listen to Alan Watts if you wish, and all the other people out there, all the gurus. They ain't going to help you. You just become an individual with gnosis, knowledge. But you have to utilize that knowledge to get the internal experience, which then you will receive wisdom. Wisdom, wise, Dom, master. I know, words. But you have an internal teacher. Okay? And that's what it's all about. But you're the one that has to tap into that. No one else is going to do it for you. And because people have been looked after from cradle to grave, people struggle to take responsibility for themselves and do what's required. And as a result, they miss the mark. And they become a sinner. And a sinner, or sin, means missing the mark. That's all it means. So whatever you've done in your life, where another man or another human being will judge you and call you a sinner, it's time to fuck off. Because a sinner is somebody who's missed the mark. And when you raise that energy on the narrow path within, and you touch the mark, the bubbling springs burst forth with the sacred secretion in. The bubbling spring, incidentally, is the cerebrospinal fluid. They call it CSF, which circulates around the brain and the spinal cord. That's the bubbling spring. It's all within. So there you go. Which number was that? That was number 13. What was Thomas's name? I'll look it up. And I'll add a little bit to this, so I'll put it in the description. Anyway, I hope that helps you, and I hope it delivers some understanding to some of these texts, which most people can't make head nor tail of, such is the nature of these things. Anyway, folks, take care. Bye now.
With Google Play, you never know where your next reward might show up. Catch VIP experiences at Pokemon Go Fest NYC with Google Play points. Go get rewarded. Go play.
I live a life where I never know what's coming soon to a theater near me. My wife and I are late to everything. It's a big problem in our relationship. It's at a point now where if we have to be somewhere at 6, she tells me we have to be there at 5:30 in order to trick us into being on time. And it never works. And the reason why it never works is because I'm not the problem. That's why it doesn't work. All tricking me does is make me mad for an extra half hour every time we're running late for something. We were running late for the movies. I went to check on my wife, and she was painting her fingernails. And my initial response is anger, because it's dark in a movie theater. No one's even going to know what you've done. We could paint your face before we head out tonight, and no one would know. I don't say anything, it's my wife. It's the woman that I picked of all the women on the planet to spend my life with. And I'm a little concerned at how few of you laughed at that. That was meant to be a joke. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Picked out of all the women on the planet? Most of the women didn't even have a chance to interview for the position. Picked her out of a different group. I picked her out of the women that live near me and would say yes if I asked them to marry me. It's a much smaller group. It still means something to me, you know. I love my wife, so when I see her painting her fingernails, keep my mouth shut. I just accept this is the life that I've chosen for myself. I live a life where I never know what's coming soon to a theater near me. And then I like to see what color she was painting her fingernails, and she was painting them clear. And then my brain exploded. Are you even doing anything? Because it looks like you're pretending to paint your fingernails. If you need me, I'll be in the front yard mowing it with the bubble maker. You let me know when you're ready. I got so many bubbles to pop out here. Just want she painted some clear because it makes the fingernail.
Welcome to... Some of these videos are really short. Some of them are only 4 or 5 minutes long. Let's see what's left on this camera. Let's see. It's already at 18 minutes. Come up here with this. 18 minutes. He's got one here. That's 23 minutes. Let's try this one. Gospel of Thomas. On my last video regarding the Gospel of Thomas saying 11, I'd like to add to that. Because he says, what will you do? He's talking to the individual. Uh-oh. Losing my signal. Because the Bible is actually about human physiology and human psychology. There's astro-theology there as well, or astronomical knowledge, which I'll get into a later date. Damn it. Losing internet signal. But I'm not. I don't know much about that. I'm a bit of an infant when it comes to that. But they're saying, what will you do? Now, the Gospel of Thomas is not actually in the Bible. It was removed because it reveals a great deal. What will you do? The individual, not groups. It's a narrow path. And it's a narrow path because only one person fits on it, you. And that narrow path, incidentally, is inside you. It's not on the left, it's not on the right, it's not the duality, it's central. That's the narrow path. It's also found represented symbolically in the yin and yang. And it's where the black and white meet, you see the path. Yea, as I walk in the valley in the shadow of death, your rod and your staff comfort me. Now, the rod and the staff is symbolic of the electromagnetic energy. It's the Kundalini, and where it crosses over, light is formed. This electromagnetism is the mother and father of light, and that's physics. So the emphasis is, what will you do? Now, John, he was on the island of Patmos, and he said, I must decrease, he must increase. So your ego intellect becomes less and your higher self becomes more. And this is a transition. It's a journey, it's a path. And it's a way. Jesus said, I am the way. So a way implies a walk, a journey, a progression. Whereas the Apostle Paul said, we will be changed in the blink of an eye, implying no effort at all. That's why Christianity is the laziest religion ever. It's just lazy. Give the Muslims some credit for putting some fucking effort into their bullshit, but the Christians put little or no effort into theirs. It's the biggest cop-out. So, it's a way, it's a progression. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And all you have to do is keep your house clean and meditate. That's it. And it will come to you. How long will it take, Danny? How long is a piece of string? We are all individuals. Some of us have greater burdens than others. Some have no burdens at all. We're all different. And yet we're all the same. But it's overcoming the illusion of the mind. And once you realize it's an illusion, it loses its power. Just like in The Wizard of Oz. Don't look at the man behind the green curtain. That's what that film's about. Dorothy in Canvas, the tornado. The tornado is the Kundalini. That's what it is. And she's on the journey, the narrow path. And she's guided by Tonto or Toto, the dog. Guided by the God backwards, you see. It's all there. The Wicked Witch of the East. That's the whore of Babylon, the confused subconscious mind. Okay. Right. So what will you do? It's about how you respond to what you're hearing and responding to your own intuition. In. You go to school and you receive tuition. They take the in out. It's time to restore your intuition. And then you'll be guided from within. Okay? Have no doubt about this. The Exodus is in full effect. Right then, where are we? That's right. Book of Thomas, saying number 12. The secret sayings of the occultist, Jesus. Occult means hidden. And he's your higher consciousness. And until you reach into your higher consciousness, these things will be hidden from you. So I'm giving you a bit of a shortcut. But then you'll have knowledge, but you haven't had the experience. Knowledge and experience begets wisdom. Wisdom. Wiz means wise. Dom means master. Wise master. Okay, so you need to respond. Clean your house. Meditate. The disciples said to Jesus, now the disciples, 12 of them, they are symbolic of the 12 cranial nerves of the brain, and symbolic of the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 tribes of Israel. We know that you will depart from us. Who is to be our leader? Jesus said to them, wherever you are to go to James the righteous, for whose sake heaven and earth came into being. Ooh, who's James the righteous? Now the names have been changed. Now, James the righteous. Now, in the beginning of these scriptures, it talks about James. These are the secret sayings which living Jesus spoke and which Judas Thomas wrote down. Now Judas has become James, but trace it all the way back, it's Yahuda. And Yahuda means related to Yah. Yah is the symbolic name of the universe consciousness. So you need to go to James the righteous. So where is he? It's your own higher consciousness. Didymus means twin. It's Greek. So it's your higher consciousness. It's your twin. It's your raw consciousness before your ego arrived on the scene. It's the original you. It's your first love, the one that you have forgotten. That is James the righteous. So how do you go to him? You meditate, and you will be guided from within. Your intuition will guide you. And as you're being guided, you'll do things that your ego won't agree with. You'll find yourself in a quandary, and you'll make drastic changes and little changes. This is why the journey is difficult, because you'll do things that you'll question. But there's an overwhelming intuition that you have to do these things. And then after the fact, dawn rises on Marblehead, and you'll start to understand, because the ego intellect is always playing catch up. This is why Jesus said, when you are giving alms, the right hand should not let the left hand know what it is doing. Now, the right hand is symbolistic speech for your subconscious mind, and the left hand is symbolistic speech for your ego intellect. So your subconscious, your divine feminine, will be doing things for you. But the left hand, your ego intellect, won't know what it is until after the fact. And then you'll get it. You'll have epiphanies. You'll have eurekas. And they're very private. They're very personal. And you'll be shown things. But it's only pertinent to you and nobody else. It's a narrow path. It's an individual journey. I'm not going to hold your hand. I'm having my own journey. You have yours. I'm merely telling you what these simple scriptures mean, so that you can chew the cud like a clean animal and then part your hoof and go your own individual way. You see how simple it all is. Now, giving alms is charity. This is not about giving money to the poor. This is about you making an offering. Imagine it like this. The universe is your father, and nobody visits him. Nobody pops up on his radar to say, hello. Can you imagine how disappointing that is? To pop up on the radar, you have to clean your body out